guys, it's Jason.
Anton here.
And today we wanted to talk a little bit about our collaborative process. You know, we've been doing this together for what, a year and a half now?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and you know, maybe you're starting your channel or you've been, working on yours for a little bit and you have the opportunity to work with somebody else. It's a lot of fun, makes life a lot easier. It can also be challenging.
Definitely. We've spoken to lots of creators who maybe work with an editor or a shooter.
Yeah. Austin Evans, for example, has a bunch of people who work with him. Linus has a team of, 4,000 people probably at this point.
Right.
Lou, even guys like your average consumer. I mean, everybody has, has at a certain point moved past the I'm going to be one person shooting straight to camera and moved on to a more collaborative experience. And since we've been doing it pretty much the whole time, we thought we'd share some of our learnings and some of the pitfalls that we hit that maybe you'll be able to avoid.
If we stand a chance against Brixton, you guys have to work together.
No way. This guy's a real ass.
So I would say the first thing that's probably worth discussing is that when you go from one person to two, you kind of have to start over from scratch. I had it in my head that you were going to come in and just tell us how to do it, and you were going to show us the right way, and that's kind of not how that went at all.
I shoot and I edit as well. But here I had to kind of readjust to just being an editor for you guys.
Right. I think from the beginning, I was also expecting that I was going to have to do less of the creative heavy lifting because, here's somebody who knows what they're doing, right? I'm this guy who's sort of just fumbling with a camera and trying to figure it out as it goes.
Sure.
And here's this expert who knows what he's doing. And, that's a different situation than most other people are probably going to feel. It's probably going to be the opposite, actually, which is I know what I'm doing. I've got my process. I've got my creative choices. You're coming in to do what I want. And in reality, it really should be two artists working together to make something better than either one was doing individually.
There was a certain point where you entrusted me with like, hey, look, if you think something should be done in a better way, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Without you saying, this is malleable.
Right.
Very much the same lessons that you've been talking about in our previous videos was that, hey, look, what it'll look like yesterday isn't necessarily what it's going to look like tomorrow. Or the week. So I think once I got over that mental hurdle of understanding that we now are both working towards this one common goal and trying to make things better, I was more able to kind of try stuff.
Absolutely. And I think by the same token, I needed to learn to be more specific about where I needed to make a choice versus I was open to other choices being made on behalf of the greater project. And I think that oftentimes it's really easy when you're the one who feels like you've got your hand on the wheel the whole time, that when somebody else comes in, there's a moment where you're like, oh, relief, great, I can move on. And the truth is it doesn't work that way. You have to have an engaged conversation around where each person is going to own certain parts of the process, who's going to make final decisions about certain choices, and ultimately who's going to be the one responsible if something gets published that doesn't work or needs to be fixed in the future, and how we communicate those ownerships.
Right hemisphere calibrated. Left hemisphere calibrated. Ready to activate the game.
When it comes to the pre-production process, I would say that most of the time I'm the one generating the script ideas.
So basically I would come in, make sure the lights were set up, get the camera set up, and then I could say, all right, guys, peace out. And basically Jason would record the show, send me the footage, and I'd download and edit.
Right. Sight unseen, which
correct.
Not great for the future. We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
We really had a breakthrough once I was able to kind of come in and actually be here for the recording.
Yeah.
We were able to bounce ideas off of each other real time as we were recording. So it was Jason's job to make sure that he hits the main points of the script, right? So for me, I was helping to shape that into, okay, what's the overarching story? If an idea comes up, then maybe I'd interject and be like, oh, you know what? This would be a great transition.
Good. Yeah.
Or, hey, look, here's this cool idea for B-roll that we can use to transition from this point to that point.
It was like I was the statue in marble, and you were helping to
I was like,
to sculpt me.
mold it. A little soft though.
Yeah, you know what? I
Little-
should
little
lift more.
soft,
It's
little
not
soft.
great.
Yeah.
Whenever I come in to start to film and it's you and I together, I really appreciate the fact that as we're rolling, as we're, trying different ideas, I'm getting feedback from you, and you and I are collaborating together on what the right phrasing of something is.
Sure.
Do you think that's something that a lot of people should aim for, right? Is this the goal of a collaborative partnership?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would highly encourage to have someone else in the room whenever you're shooting, even whenever you're editing.
Yeah.
The way that we have always worked is the best idea wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. You want to still have it creatively be as open as possible for new ideas.
Yes, that's a very great point, because giving someone else ownership of whichever project is going to be hugely important. I feel as big of a stakeholder as Jason does for all of these videos. And I think it makes our stuff better.
I agree. I think ownership is a really important aspect to any good creative relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
For anybody who's working solo, is there a good substitute that they could put into place that might help them with a similar kind of creative feedback loop?
Well, very similar to what you've said in previous videos, having a close group of folks that you trust creatively, that you can kind of show and have the, bounce ideas off of would be great.
Yeah.
If you don't quite have that yet, just keep watching yourself. Be very critical of what you're seeing on screen.
Yeah.
What can be better? And I think also, you don't have to fix all the problems all at once.
No, I'm a constant problem, so I think we haven't fixed me yet. Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, I think for me, to have a partner that is very encouraging and allows you to kind of make mistakes and fail and try something new, it makes it that much better when we do find something that we do like.
I mean, that's true, and that's very sweet of you to say. Thank you. I would even say that part of what has made this process better is the fact that I didn't get what I want out of this initially. That I didn't get somebody who walked in and said, it needs to be this way, you got to do it this how, and this is the process, you guys are all screwed up. That instead, you came in and said, all right, let me just see where things are. Let's just be a part of this process for a little while before I start to try to evoke change in some, progressive way.
In America, I see somebody editing. It's all computer now. It's a very surprised me, and also it's very just wow, the technology.
So, full disclosure, I don't edit any of our videos at all. I don't know Final Cut, I don't know Adobe Premiere, I can barely use iMovie. This is the creative genius behind 90% of our post-production work.
I'm okay.
He's fine. Here's my question for you. Am I useful in any part of that editing process? I mean, when it comes to actually getting videos together, do I help or am I just in your way?
To be honest, at the very beginning, you were absolutely helpful. In fact, for the first couple of months, you were very helpful.
Only in the beginning.
Because, well, here's kind of what's cool about how our creative relationship works, right? So, in the beginning, and again, this is probably not unusual to other creative relationships out there, but in the beginning, I'm trying to figure out kind of what the look and feel of the show is, right? Like, after seeing your face, your 4K face for at least 15 minutes of footage every day, I get, I guess, comfortable with his delivery and kind of his cadence. And so I can really build that into the show.
Yeah.
I understand when I need to kind of give it some air, insert a joke,
Cut me off,
put a clip of him fixing his hair.
Hey, this takes work. The other part that I really enjoy is that you have always been very clear about any questions you have, right? There's never a time where you send me a rough cut of something and I'm like, where the hell is this going, right? We always have a pretty good sense from the beginning of where we want this to end up. And I only think maybe it's only been 2 or 3 times that I've ever said to you, like, we really got to cut this section. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. You've spent a lot of time on it, but I'm really sorry. Like, this isn't working. We got to nix this.
That's correct.
That's got to be a little frustrating. That's got to be a little disappointing on your part.
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Great. I'm going to do it more often.
My job as an editor is to ensure that what we're putting out there is what we all are comfortable with.
Totally.
There have actually been times where I'm like, sorry, Jason, I cut out, 3 minutes of you talking.
Right.
And,
Right.
and
by
most of the time
token-
it's fine.
Right. And by the same token, my response is thank you. Great. Having that critical eye on things that I wouldn't otherwise observe, or that even parts of the story where you're like, if this is really what you want to go with, like this is the only way to make it work, that back and forth has always been a key part of this. So, in summary, look, you have to have open lines of communication.
Sure.
You have to define roles really, really specifically early on, know when and how to ask questions, and ultimately being able to give critical feedback to the other person without feelings being hurt, right? Right. So those are probably the 5 essential pillars of how this works.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate your time. You want to know more about our process, or there's just other things you want to know about how we create these videos? Send us a note. Find us on Twitter, whatever makes life easy for you. In the meantime, we'll see you back here soon. I'm Jason.
I'm Anton.
And we'll see you soon.
Peace out.